Welcome to Tuesdays with Travis. It is Tuesday, and so this week we're going to do it on Tuesdays. It's been a little crazy lately, but we're moving forward. Just to let you know, this week or not this week, next week we will not have a Tuesdays with Travis because Abby's having a baby on Friday. So if you guys could keep that in prayer, she's scheduled for a C-section about 11 o'clock in the morning on Friday. So. We will be welcoming Liam Parker into the world. So again, if you guys could keep her and Liam and the doctors and the nurses and everybody that's going to be taking care of us in prayer, we would appreciate that. So next week, we're going to take a week off. Maybe I'll post a video, not with a lesson or anything, but just to introduce you all to our new baby boy. So anyway, we're going to move on and talk about what we're going to talk about today, and that's testimony. There's a lot of people that I've heard that say, I just don't have a testimony. False, as Dwight Schrute would say. False. You have a testimony. You've been through something. God's brought you through it one way or another, and now you're out the other side. And maybe that's a financial situation. Maybe that's a relationship that just wasn't healthy, whether it's boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, friends, family, maybe, whatever the situation is, if you had a hard time getting through it and you relied on God, or you didn't rely on God and you recognize now that God brought you through it, you have a testimony. I think also sometimes people who've been in the church most of their life, they think they don't have a testimony because so many times we hear testimonies that people have been brought through some major things, through drug addiction, through alcoholism, through abusive relationships, through all kind of just unimaginable things that you maybe never been exposed to, and you think that that's the only type of testimony there is. I've been in church my entire life, and God has given me a testimony. God has brought me through my stuttering problems. I still stutter. But God has used that. God has brought me through many things that I can look back on and say, hey, look what God has brought me through. I see you're going through the same thing. I see what's happening in your life. I see the situation, and listen, this is how God brought me through. And this is how I try my best to rely on God. And there's many times in the Bible that it instructs us to comfort others. There's many times in the Bible that it says God's going to comfort us. There's no times that it says that we need to comfort ourselves or that we can comfort ourselves. We go through situations so then we can tell other people, say, look what the Lord has done for me. And today is a story exactly about that. The book of Mark is one of my favorites because it's just action-packed and it's right in your face, and it's just intense. It kind of crams everything and hits the highlights and talks about what Jesus did, not necessarily exactly word for word what he taught, but what he did for people and what he does. And so I talked on Sunday morning and on Sunday evening about demon possession, not really about demon possession, but the people in the story had a possession in them. They had some type of dysfunction. They had some type of demon in them, some type of struggle, whatever you want to get deep and theological about it. They had something hindering them and keeping them down, and this here is exactly demon possession. And this man comes to Jesus, and he's possessed with thousands of demons, and this man had been kept away, and they tried to chain him, and they tried to keep him away, but he kept breaking chains, and he would just run through the mountains just screaming and being absolutely tortured. And so when Jesus came to town, he approached Jesus, and we'll start in verse 6, in Mark chapter 5, verse 6, sorry. When he saw Jesus from afar, makes it look like I'm not reading anything. I got my Bible here. When he saw Jesus from afar, he ran and worshipped him. He cried out with a loud voice and said, What have I to do with you, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I implore you by God that you do not torment me. For he said to him, Come out of the man, unclean spirit. Then he asked, What is your name? And he answered, saying, My name is Legion, for we are many. Also he begged him earnestly that he would not send them out into the country. Now a large herd of swine was feeding there near the mountains. So all demon the demons begged him, saying, "Send us to the swine, that we may enter them." And at once Jesus gave them the permission. Then the unclean spirits went out and entered the swine. There were about 2,000. And the herd ran violently down the steep place into the sea and drowned in the sea. So those who fed the swine fled, and they told it in the city and in the country. And they went out to see what it was that had happened. Then they came to Jesus and saw the one who had been demon possessed and had the legion sitting and clothed in his right mind, and they were afraid. And those who saw it told them how it had happened to him who had been demon possessed, and about the swine. Then they began to plead with him to depart from their region. And when he got into the boat, he who had been demon possessed begged him that he might be with him. However, Jesus did not permit him, but said to him, "Go home to your friends and tell them what great things the Lord has done for you, and how he has had compassion on you." And he departed and began to proclaim in Decapolis all that Jesus had done for him, and all marveled. We have a tendency, I think, that when we come through something, we could talk about it in church. We can tell people about what the Lord has done for us in that safe setting. But it's hard for us to go back into the workplace, back at home maybe, back with your friends at school or wherever you're at. It's hard to tell them about what Jesus has done for us. It's pretty easy to stay with Jesus in church with our Christian friends and talk about it there. Just like this guy wanted to do. He just wanted to stay with Jesus. But Jesus needed him to go back and tell his friends, tell his family, tell his village, tell his town what he had done for them. And he needs us to do the same thing. So I encourage you, with whatever Jesus has done for you, however he's blessed you, however he's brought you out of a hard time, he's brought you out of struggle and trial, however he's done that, whatever he's done for you, go tell somebody about it. Go testify that this is what the Lord has done for me, and this is what he can do for you. And those times that he brings us through those things is because he wants us to be able to be there for people and say, listen, the Lord brought me through this same thing, and I know he can do the same for you. So if you want to skip to if you've made it this far into the video and you want to hear the message just summed up, go testify. Go tell people about what the Lord has done for you. God bless you guys. I challenge you to go to work this week. Go to a friend's house. Go to somebody that might be going through something, might not know the Lord, and testify. Tell them what the Lord has done for you. And I bet that they'll marvel and they'll be amazed and they'll want to hear more about it. God bless you guys. We'll see you soon, hopefully with a new baby.